Welcome to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer. Louisville's Book Festival is just around the corner. It's a citywide celebration of stories, readers, and authors that's all about making books accessible to every part of our community. At the heart of it is Louisville author and therapist Deedee Cummings, founder of the Louisville Book Festival and Makeaway Media, and the author of more than a dozen books for children and adults. Her newest children's book, Hope in the Nick of Time, comes out at the end of September. It's a story with a timely message. Hope isn't something we just feel, it's a skill we can practice and grow. Deedee's work has been featured in Huffington Post, Forbes, NPR, USA Today, Essence, and more. She believes literacy is a fundamental human right, and her stories highlight inspiring messages that remind us it's never too late to begin again. Deedee, welcome to On Track.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So the Louisville Book Festival is coming up October 11th. For listeners who haven't been, what inspired its creation and what can people expect if they attend this year?
Well, they can expect a whole lot of fun. A lot of times when people hear book festival, they don't think that sounds very exciting, but it is very exciting. So I'm really, really looking forward to this year's book festival because we have so many authors who are coming, over 100 authors.
Wow.
Many speakers on community topics. And you can expect some surprises like Michael Threets, who is America's librarian. He is the PBS resident librarian. He's coming to town. But did you ask how it came together?
Yeah, how did it all come together?
Yeah, it's such a, every time I have to talk about how the story came together, it's kind of unreal to me. But I started my career as a therapist, and I use books a lot in therapy with kids because kids aren't like adults. They don't just lay on a couch and tell you what's going on in their lives. You have to be more creative when you talk to kids. And so I would read a story with kids, and then a child might say something like, well, that's stupid. I wouldn't have handled that way. And I'd say, well, how would you have handled it? And so it was just a really great way to get into their mindset. And I started a nonprofit called It Pays to Read, which literally paid kids to read. And 100% of the kids in that program reported to me that they had never read a book that they chose themselves. They had never picked up a book to read for fun. So this kind of started my whole journey of, trying to figure out why some kids are so reluctant to read and how I could encourage more kids to read. And a lot of the kids I served were in the West End of Louisville, still are. And I stumbled on a fact when I was thinking about putting the book festival together, and I learned that in Louisville's West End, there was not a single bookstore. And so Louisville, you probably know, is a big circle, and Highway 65 goes down the middle of it. And to one side of that highway is what Louisville calls the East End. To the other side is what Louisville calls the West End. And while I was just searching for places for children to access literacy events, I noticed that there were many bookstores, libraries, all kinds of creative outlets on the east side, to the east of Highway 65. But to the west, there was not a single bookstore in 2018, which is when the book festival was founded. Since that time, there have been a couple of bookstores that have popped up in Louisville's South End, but still none in Louisville's West End. And I just found that shocking. And so I took my love of mental health and literacy and created an event that would cause us all to come together as a community and call attention to that fact every single year. So every year in the fall for the past, this will be the 6th year, our community comes together and celebrates books, talks about community topics, and it's for everyone. Everyone always asks, who is the book festival for? We kind of have a reputation for being for children because I think I talk about children a lot and they're just my passion. I kind of gave up on adults a long time ago.
Oh no.
But we're not just for children. The book festival is for everyone. So people can expect a lot of exciting things at the book festival this year.
I will say that I was out at an event and I saw an adult who was going to be at that festival.
Awesome. So that's wonderful.
That's very exciting. Well, now, okay, so 6th year. Mm-hmm. So how have you seen it evolved over the past 6 years?
Oh my gosh. Well, in 2018, I was working on the nonprofit It Pays to Read, and which the Louisville Book Festival is actually a program of It Pays to Read. And I was moving full speed ahead. I was working with all these people in the community, and several people were telling me you need to slow down and maybe put the book festival off. And I said, no, 2020 is going to be my year. That's the year I'm doing this. Nothing's going to stop me. And then,
Yes.
but we still held the book festival in 2020. We just did it virtually. And guess who was our headline speaker in 2020? Tommy Adeyemi.
Oh, wow.
Yes, whose book, Children of Blood and Bone, is going to be a movie now. So it was really exciting. And 2020 obviously was a year when people were just feeling very not good, especially in the community. It was right after Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, the pandemic. It was just all of these things that were happening that were weighing everyone down. And I will never forget all of these faces on Zoom as Tommy Adeyemi was speaking about how to make your author dreams come true and the work that she does. And I just remember all of these hopeful faces being on the computer screen. So it's interesting when people ask us how we evolved, and we had, were forced to go virtual 2020. We also did again in 2021 because things still weren't quite safe. But in 2022, we held our first in-person festival, and it's just grown every year. Every year we get more interest from authors. Every year more people in the community find out about us, which is so very important. We desperately need community support, and I don't have to tell you, especially in this time of media and truth and books that speak the truth being under attack. So one of my favorite sessions every year we usually have something on banned books, another important community topic to discuss. So the festival has evolved faster than I could have even imagined.
That's beautiful to hear. Well, so I'm excited to hear more about what kinds of authors, themes, or activities are you especially excited about this year?
Well, like I said, Michael Threets, I cannot believe he's coming to Louisville. He's kind of a rock star on Instagram and TikTok.
Killing it.
He's killing it. He's killing it. And we just kind of became friends on social media. I had actually reached out to him to ask, could I go to visit his library in Solano County, California, kind of before he really became, the presence, he was always a presence, but before he really was well known. And so we just kind of developed a friendship on social media, and I'm just so grateful that he's coming because he talks about library joy. And I just saw a video he posted just this week talking about, he asked little kids, who does the library belong to? And they were like, you? The president? The mayor? And he said, no, the library belongs to you. And the kids were just, what? But we also have some really interesting guests. I love podcasts and I love true crime. And there are some podcasters from Indianapolis who host the show, The Murder Sheet. And so on Kane, I hope I'm saying her name right. She has one of those accents over her name. So I never really know how to pronounce those when I see them. And Kevin Greenlee from The Murder Sheet are coming to the festival to talk about their new book release. We have Willie Edward Carver Taylor Jr., who was a Kentucky Educator of the Year and has written one. I'm not a huge poetry fan, but I do have some favorites, like Jacqueline Woodson. And I love Willie's book, which is called Gay Poems for Red States.
Love that.
I know, I love that too. So he's coming back. Brittany J. Thurman, who is an award-winning author who is local. She's from Louisville. She wrote the best-selling book Fly, and she has a new book coming out this fall too. I'm mentioning children's authors. I'm mentioning people who write poetry. I'm mentioning people who write true crime, literacy champions. I mean, that's kind of the whole genre of types of authors that you'll find. And I almost forgot to mention, we have Miles Morales coming, and he will be giving away Miles Morales books.
Can you explain who Miles Morales is for someone who doesn't know?
He's the first Black Spider-Man.
That's right. That's right.
And he has a movie coming out next year, too.
Oh, my goodness. It's such an eclectic mix. It sounds like so much fun. And one of the things I'm curious about is, like, from your perspective, what's special about having a book festival right here in Louisville?
Well, I was kind of surprised when I was researching how I could call attention to the literacy issues that we have right here at home. I was surprised that we didn't have a Louisville Book Festival. There's a strong literacy community in Louisville. There's a strong literary community in Louisville. So I don't mean to present it as though they weren't doing any work. There are definitely people here doing the work. But I was shocked we didn't have a Louisville Book Festival, a citywide comprehensive book festival that wasn't just for writers, wasn't just for kids, a book festival that really would bring people together and encourage a free exchange of ideas as it relates to new books that are coming out every single year that are talking about a wide range of topics that affect our lives or expand our lives. And so it's just been an amazing honor to be the person who brought an event like this to Louisville. I'm humbled by it. I am always surprised that hundreds of authors from we have many, many local authors, but we also have authors from all over the country that come. So hundreds of authors over the past 6 years have come to Louisville, because even when we were virtual, we had some people come to the office and do events. But there's just going to be so many different types of activities for kids and for adults to do. And the Louisville Free Public Library, I have to give them a shout out real quick because they have been with me since day one. They're probably my biggest supporter in doing this event. Of course, we're completely aligned. Why wouldn't they be? But they go above and beyond, from helping us print bookmarks and posters to actually doing all kinds of fun events for kids at the Louisville Book Festival. So it's been really neat and such an incredible honor to bring the literary community together on this day to celebrate the Louisville Book Festival and highlight literacy issues right here that we must address.
Well, I also want to turn to something else you found, which is Makeaway Media. Alongside that, the festival, that's something you started. And I'm wondering, what role does it play today in publishing diverse and hopeful stories?
About a little over a decade ago, I was looking for books at Christmas time for my kids because we love Christmas stories. We love holiday stories of all kinds. And I couldn't find, there's this, like Home Alone and stories like that where children always get to be like the hero and help save the day. And so I wanted that for my own children. I wanted them to, and we will read books of all kinds. But we could not find a book featuring a child who looked like my children who get to help Santa Claus save the day. And so Makeaway Media has identified many areas in publishing in the area of hope, stories that tell scenarios where children can identify with hope, and stories where children can see lots of different kinds of people solve problems. When I founded Makeaway Media in 2014, it was with the purpose to publish diverse stories. And at that time, and it hasn't really changed very much, a black or brown child was much more likely to walk into a bookstore or a library, a school library, and look for books that they were interested in reading, and they were much more likely to find a book with an inanimate object like a rock or a truck or a animal who was the protagonist in the story than they were to find a story with a child that looked like them. And I know I shouldn't be shocked. Sometimes I say I'm shocked by stuff and people are always like, well, you shouldn't be shocked because, this is the world we live in. But I was shocked in the world of children's publishing that it was that difficult for Black and brown children to find a person in a story who gets to save the day, who looks like them. And you know who really needs that more than anybody else? Black and brown kids need it. But white children need those stories too. Because this is why sometimes you see children struggle with concepts of what leaders look like, what princesses look like, what superheroes look like. My entire time growing up as a child, I never saw a Disney princess that looked like me. Never. And then my daughter got one, Tiana, and she's beautiful, and we love Tiana. But, to have this like catalog of princesses mm-hmm. and you either grow up and never see one that looks like you, or you grow up and you see one that looks like you, it's surprising. It's surprising.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment. You're on track with Louisville Public Media.
The NFL is back, and FanDuel's got everything you need to play your game, from same-game parlays to live betting. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus in present and select states. 18 plus in Kentucky and Wyoming. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome back to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and we're talking with Louisville author and Louisville Book Festival founder Deedee Cummings about the festival, her new book, and how stories can spark hope. So, you sort of touched on this a little bit, but, you bring your experience as a therapist into your writing. Children's mental health has become a growing concern in recent years. What role do you think books and stories can play in helping kids feel seen and supported during these times?
Children's mental health is probably going to be its own pandemic. It is definitely an epidemic. It is something that we can no longer ignore. Our children are growing up with unprecedented challenges. And sometimes books may be all that a child sees to help them make sense of the world. A lot of times we overlook concerns that children might have because we dismiss them as things they shouldn't be concerned about, or we may not even know how deep the concern is. A lot of times people have no idea what children are really, truly thinking about because they don't have the words to tell us. They don't have the words to explain to us how they're feeling or how deeply afraid they are. And the reason why I really was prompted or inspired to write Hope in the Nick of Time this year is because even as a therapist, I still am surprised by some of the things that I learn. I don't know all the facts. I don't know all the details about mental health. So I stumbled again across a shocking statistic that for children ages 10 to 14, suicide is now the second leading cause of death for children ages 10 to 14. I don't think a lot of people know that. And it moved me to want to sow hope through stories and get those stories out into the world so that children could understand that life is so much bigger than today. Life is so much bigger than what happened at recess. Life is so much bigger than this one person who is giving you a hard time. and that, it might not be better tomorrow, but it will probably be better soon, or it will be different soon. And I don't think that we talk to children about hope in a way that really reinforces that hope is truly a skill. Hope is a skill. It's not just a feeling. But that's the way we talk about hope.
Can you kind of talk about how you bring that idea to life for kids in Hope in the Nick of Time?
Yeah. Nick, so In the Nick of Time is a book series. It's Hope in the Nick of Time is the third in the series. Like I said earlier, my family loves the holidays, so writing a book about the holidays was kind of like a natural fit for me. I also love that there is a Black Santa in books, which sometimes can be very controversial. I'm not really sure why, because I think that Santa looks like love. And love looks different for all of us. So your Santa can look the way you envision your Santa to look, and my Santa can look the way I envision my Santa to look. And it shouldn't be threatening to any of us. But in the book, I talk about what a bad day Nick is having, and how he thinks everything is ruined, everything is over. And Nick is a little bit of a sourpuss throughout the whole series. And he turns it around at the end of every book, but also in Hope in the Nick of Time, it talks about how kids can see situations that look very hopeless, and how you can find the good in a situation even when it looks very dark or very bleak. And if you can't find the hope in the situation, if you can't find the good in a situation, then that means it's on us to act and bring that hope into the world. And so I love Hope in the Nick of Time because it's just a beautiful holiday story. But more than that, it's a story you can read all year long. It's not really just a holiday story. It's about how to use your hoping skill, how to put hope in action, so that these children, these sweet babies who can't see tomorrow and can't see that life is so very long, that it gets better, that there is hope, and that you might not have the words today to advocate for yourself or to fully explain to people how you feel, but it's coming. It's on the way. But you have to be here to see it.
Yeah. And I feel like this is a message not just for children, but also adults.
Well, how many times have you read a picture book and thought, are they talking to me?
Yeah. Almost like all the time.
Yeah, right. Right. I will sit down with my kids to read a picture book, and I think I oftentimes enjoy it more than they do. I mean, it'll sink in, it'll cement as they get older, and they'll love them too. But I love picture books.
Yeah. And they always have great lessons,
Yeah.
and sometimes not so obvious lessons.
Yes.
I do love hope as a skill. Yeah, regardless of how many times I try to read the book and don't know the names of the very important cities,
Yes.
the message comes
Yes.
through. Well, so looking ahead, what impact do you hope both your books and the Louisville Book Festival will have for this community in the long run?
Hope. I just hope that people can find more hope. I try to stay off social media, but it's hard, especially when you're trying to get a message out about what you do. A lot of times people are like, wow, you have a lot of friends on Facebook. And I'm like, I don't even know a lot of these people. I'm just trying to make connections so people can see that we have a book festival. And, I just really want to connect with people to spread this message that there is so much hope in books. They're so powerful. Read books with the kids in your life. Sit down. I know we're all busy. I know we have a lot to do. Just take 10 minutes. You don't even have to finish the book. Some of my picture books are a little bit longer than typical picture books. Read 10 minutes tonight and 10 minutes tomorrow night. Just give 10 minutes, because you will be shocked. If you're not already someone who's reading with children, you'll be shocked by the questions that kids have when they're reading books. They will blow you away. And books give them those concepts. Books give them that language to be able to say, well, Mom, how did you solve that problem? Or have you ever had an experience like that? It opens up such a dialogue with your children. And so I hope that people find that at the Louisville Book Festival with their family, with their friends, with their kids, with their coworkers. I love that it's downtown because sometimes people come by, in the middle of a day that they're working. But my overall goal with all of this is that people find hope. Don't give up. What I was going to say about social media is there's so many people on social media saying that they don't have hope. And I want you to get off social media and get into a book and spread the message that we always have hope.
Before I let you go, do you have a couple book recommendations?
Oh, from the festival or just in general?
Just in general.
Oh, well, I have to tell you this story. My favorite book ever is Zora Neale Hurston, Their Eyes Were Watching God. If you have not read that book, you need to read it. When I was 16 years old, my aunt gave me that book. And on the inside, she wrote, read this now and read this again when you're a woman. And I remember at 16, I had such an attitude. I thought, I am a woman. But I read that book at 16, and I read it again as an adult, and it's such a powerful book. That's my number one book recommendation.
Well, Deedee, thank you so much for hanging out with us today on Track.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Deedee Cummings is the founder of the Louisville Book Festival and Makeaway Media and the author of more than a dozen books for children and adults. Her latest, Hope in the Nick of Time, comes out September 30th. The Louisville Book Festival takes place October 11th. On Track is a production of Louisville Public Media. The On Track production team includes Michelle Tyreen Johnson, Alex Biscardi, and Laura Ellis. Our music is by Kojin Tashiro. If you'd like to revisit this episode or explore other community-focused conversations, visit LouisvilleOnTrack.org or find us in your favorite podcast app. Have feedback or ideas for a future show? Connect with us at 502-814-TALK or ontrack@lpm.org. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and remember, when stories are told, futures unfold. Until next time, you're on track with Louisville Public Media.
Bustin' with the Boys is here to let you know that every college football Saturday, FanDuel is dropping profit boosts that can turn wins into bigger wins.
Sounds like we should rename Saturday Booster Day.
Nice.
21 plus and present in select states. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.